Yeah, 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 yeah. And I heard him say, nothing's ever promised tomorrow today. From the shot like Tim and Hardaway. So this is in the name of love like Robert say. Before you ask me to go get a job today, can I at least get a raise on the minimum wage? And I know the government administer AIDS, so I guess we just pray like the minister say. Allahu Akbar and throwing some hot cars. The things we seen on the screen, it's not ours. But these niggas from the hood, so these dreams not far. Where I'm from, the dope boys is the rock stars, but they can't cop cars without seeing cop cars. I guess they want us all behind bars. I know it, and I heard him say.
I think this was last year in Cleveland, All-Star Game, the 75th anniversary. You're there with Jordan, Magic, LeBron, D-Wade, Melo, Larry, the list goes on of NBA legends. What was some of the conversations when you got a room full of heavyweights in the same room? Like, what was some of the conversations and interactions between you guys?
I'm not so sure there were conversations. A lot of those people I know differently than, playing against them. I know them personally. And I'm friends with them. And they're people I greatly admired. They were the cream of the crop. And it's really interesting because I've seen, Michael Jordan, I like to say I admire him more than anything. I would say we're close. We don't bug each other, but we're close. And he doesn't change, Paul. He does not. He's the same person all the time. But I really like Scott. He's a hell of a player. Really good.
Jerry West, aka The Logo, was one of the best players in the 60s and 70s. In an interview on The Dan Patrick Show, he was asked if he saw any resemblance between Maravich and Curry. West kept it short and straightforward, putting Curry on a pedestal. None whatsoever. The difference is, Pete could not shoot the ball like him. Period. Curry is maybe the premier shooter I've ever seen in my life.
Will Chamberlain and I became very good friends, okay? And he wrote a book, and I think he mentioned 20,000
something like that, yeah. Somewhere in that neighborhood.
Well, I know he can't count very well, but anyway, he had held out, and we were playing at Kansas City Royals now, who are the Sacramento Kings. And he'd held out, and so I didn't think he was going to be there. I get a call in my room about 6:30, and I always ate very early, particularly on the road. And here's Wilt. I said, where the hell are you? He says, I said, are you going to play or not? He said, I'm going to play. He said, I'm here in Kansas City. I said, really? He said, yeah, come on up to the room for dinner. I said, I've already eaten, but I'll come up and see how you're doing, okay? So I go up to the room, and I open the door. He's got a towel tied around his neck like this, okay? He's got a pair of basketball shorts on. That's all he had on. And I walked in there, and there's a table about from there to there. And there's this barbecue house in Kansas City, very famous, Gates, okay? And it's in a minority area, and we all went there, okay? So I walk in there, and I look around, and I said, oh my God, I said, what is this guy doing? There were 3 racks of ribs, okay, and I'm telling you, ribs down there are like this long. There were 6 7-Ups, so he drank 7-Up like it was water, okay, and there's 6 of them in ice. There was 2 1-pound brisket sandwiches. Oh, gosh. There was coleslaw. There was potato salad. There were barbecued beans. Barbecued chicken. I'm sitting there and I said to myself, oh my God, what's going to happen here tonight? Now, he hasn't even worked out at all. So I walk in there, and here he is with, he's big, tall. He looked taller than he really was because he was all legs, okay? And I walk in there, and Wilt stuttered a little bit, okay? And he starts eating. He said, why don't you have something? I said, you got a knife? He had a knife. So I cut myself a little piece of this brisket sandwich. By the way, it's great. I could hardly eat this brisket sandwich. And by the time we were in there wasn't much food left on this table. And I think there's about half of one of these 7-Ups left. I said, how in the world, have you been working out? Nope. I said, how in the hell are you going to play tomorrow night? I said, there's no way you can play. Well, he goes out, gets 25 rebounds. And when I left there that night, I got up, and this towel, instead of kind of sleek, it looked like it was pregnant. Okay? Drink 6 bottles of 7-Up like this. I mean, it was the most, it's like, you see those old movies where these guys are gnawing bones? But there's one other funny one about his eating, too. You know, most players, I could not eat. I'd get sick, okay? I had to eat at 2:30 or otherwise I'd be sick. There's so much adrenaline running through your body. And Wilt would come to games, and he came to games, and here's how he got dressed, okay? He never taped his ankles. He'd put 1 pair of socks on. Everyone else played with 2. He'd put his clothes on, and he'd take 2 Band-Aids and put them over his nipples. But he sweat so much, okay? And so we had a big meeting the night before in Atlanta. We were playing Atlanta Hawks, and our coach our general manager's come giving us hell because we lost a couple games we shouldn't have lost. And so we go out and we kick Atlanta's fanny, and he said the last thing he said that night, he says, I don't want anyone eating in the locker room before the games, and especially hot dogs, okay? Next night we're in Cleveland. He said, it's going to be a fine if you do this. So the next night in Cleveland, I see Wilt talking to the ball boy. And so pretty soon the ball boy comes in, he's got 6 hot dogs. Well, about that time, the general manager, who was my coach, who recruited me in college, the general manager, he walks in, and he looks at Wilt, and Wilt said, hey, Fred, I got you a couple of hot dogs. He said, but he was really, I really liked him, okay? I really did. And he helped prolong my career. I think I helped prolong his career, helped us win our only championship. And the only sad thing about that, someone I admired and still admire, Elgin Baylor, really wasn't part of it. And I thought it was one of the saddest things ever. But it was one of those magical years. And he was such a huge part of that. Us winning that year, but he was a character who had the dream to be one of the greatest players of all time. I saw something really special in you, and it didn't have to do so much with your enormous skill at 17 years of age. You could almost feel this incredible determination and desire to compete and excel. 20 years later, I look back, I was right, the Lakers were right, and I see this incredible basketball player with a resume that's almost second to none. It's a sad night, but a very special night to have a chance to honor someone who has earned the respect of not only Laker fans, but fans throughout the world, and particularly in all the NBA arenas. You've been an unbelievably special player. 5 NBA championships, scoring championships, All-Star games. Even though that people look at this and say what an amazing player you are, I'm not so sure that they understand the enormous desire and this incredible fuel that drove you to be the person that you became. There are millions of kids throughout the world that you have inspired to be another Kobe Bryant. But tonight is our chance to say goodbye to this incredible player who has changed the landscape of the NBA. From all of us at the Golden State Warriors organization, and for all the fans in the Bay Area, I want to wish you the very best going forward.
I think that that when you set standards for yourself, and when you are willing to sacrifice some of those standards, then you're not being very honest with yourself. And I know myself that I didn't want to sacrifice those standards.
You played in that era, and those guys set the table for us to be where we are today. And I was just interested in your thoughts on comments like that about your generation and the generations that paved the way.
Well, obviously the game is completely different. The athletes are completely different. And I know JJ just a little bit. He's a very smart kid and everything. Look, tell me what his career looked like. What did he do that determined games? He averaged what? He averaged 12 points a game in the league. Somewhere along the way, numbers count. At that point in time, the players aren't what they used to be. JJ certainly wasn't going to guard the elite players. And so you can nitpick anyone. And I'm not, the only reason I'm talking about him is because he was not an elite player, but he was a very good player. But he had a place on the team because of his ability to shoot the ball.
1969, it found its perfect image in Jerry West. Designer Alan Siegel chose a photo of West driving to the basket, capturing the grace and intensity that defined the game. That silhouette became the league's iconic logo.
Jerry West should be looked upon as important as any Laker who's ever been affiliated with this franchise.
Jerry West was my first coach when I got with the Lakers. One of the things he used to always say, keep basketball simple. Jerry was very, very instrumental in all our lives on and off the court.
The Lakers head coach, he guided the team to 3 playoff appearances, but his role as the team's general manager is where he truly shined.
Jerry was my first coach when I got in the league, but as an executive, what made him special was his ability to spot and recognize talent.
And not only just talent, but guys that would fit in the system and in the organization.
The Los Angeles Lakers select Earvin Magic Johnson, Michigan State.
He picked myself. He made the trade for Kareem. I picked James Worthy. I mean, all the things that Jerry West was able to do.
I give him a lot of credit for the way my career was shaped.
West was a mastermind, architecting the Showtime Lakers of the 80s that would go on to win 5 championships.
He gave me great advice in how to coach great players. He said, you gotta let them go. He said, you gotta train them, but you gotta let them go, you gotta let them be who they are, and you can't restrain Kareem, you can't restrain Magic, and that team became Showtime.
In 1996, he traded for 17-year-old prodigy Kobe Bryant, recognizing the generational talent long before anyone else.
Anybody could see the #1 pick in the draft. Jerry had a way of finding those hidden gems.
Jerry was the most influential person in my career when I first came to Los Angeles. I mean, we spent a lot of time together, But I think the thing that stuck with me the most was when Jerry told me that his biggest challenge as a player was not the fear of failure, but the fear of success. And he couldn't quite figure out how to get through that. And that was the piece of information that really stuck with me the most from Jerry.
Later that year, he signed Shaquille O'Neal, pairing the dominant big man with Bryant to ignite a Lakers dynasty that would claim 3 consecutive championships from 2000 to 2002.
They said you're making the best decision in your life because we just got this 18-year-old kid from Charlotte and we just signed this kid, Kobe Bryant. And like he kept saying it, I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, Mr. West. Mr. West was definitely a visionary.
He cast a long shadow on the NBA and the Lakers and every team he's been with.
Warriors, Jerry West. I want to hit you up on a bunch of topics here while we have you. First, Allen Iverson and what he meant to the league and what impressions you had of his career.
Well, there's a couple of impressions. I think for all smaller players, he gave them hope. Not only to be a player, but to be a great player. The other thing I really admired about him is how competitive he was. He gave it every night. You didn't have to ask him to play. He said one time he didn't want to practice, he wanted to play the game. And if I were a coach, I'd rather have him play a game. But just a magnificent player, and I think for someone who likes smaller players sometimes. He was a great inspiration for me.
So much fun to watch. You see the guys here with the GOAT T-shirts on, and you were so eloquent yesterday speaking about Muhammad Ali, a contemporary of yours when you were a star athlete, and he was at the top of his game as a boxer as well. How well did you know Muhammad Ali, and what made him such a charismatic figure in your mind?
You know, he and I were on the same Olympic team in 1960. And the buildings over there where the athletes used to stay, not like where they stay today, Mr. O'Neill, when you were a part of it. Right. But people used to have to walk under these buildings. And you could hear him coming. I was like on the second floor where they housed the American athletes. You could hear him coming, making noise. He had something very special about him, an it factor, okay? Steph Curry's got an it factor. LeBron James got an it factor. Shaquille had an it factor. And there's few people will have it. But I think the thing I most admired about him is that it's ironic. I just read a story about he and Malcolm X, their lives together. Everything he had to endure in his life. And I saw him fight Frazier when he came back after not being able to fight for 3 years and losing that fight. And to watch this man just grow in stature every year. I often said to myself, why would he let him? They couldn't hit him. He would let fighters hit him, look like him saying that, you know, I want to please the fans. I want to show them I can take it too. But he left a mark that few athletes were ever going to be in this world. He is an iconic figure. People talk about iconic figure. He's an iconic figure all over the world.
And he always did a great job as general manager. He always was very passionate about the game. The Lakers wouldn't have been what they were if it wasn't for Jerry West.
From all walks of life here. One who represents the ladies' field, Dwayne, who was one of the great players we've ever seen, and this other gentleman over here. You look like, unfortunately, you look like you're conducting this draft. You really did, and not because of you, because of this young man, this young lady over here.
Thanks, Jerry. Appreciate you, pal.
Explain your connection to Charles Manson and your reaction to that book.
Oh my gosh. You know, he's from West Virginia also. And I had a Ferrari, and again, I have no idea, but it mentioned in the book, Helter Skelter, how he followed this Ferrari on Sunset Boulevard. And this car was following me, okay? It was following, no question, it's following me. But I had a lot of kids that would follow me home after a game. And so I thought it might, and this wasn't even a game night, okay? And it was the most weird feeling of all, because these other murders had occurred that he was part of. That I often wonder, because he said he was following this white Ferrari, and in the book, Helter Skelter, okay?
You think it was you?
I don't know, but I know one thing, that he wasn't going to catch me in a Ferrari. Probably no one in the league was much faster than me. You're the Black Mamba? He said, yes. I said, you ever hear of a mongoose? I said, I'm a mongoose and they kill every Black Mamba. He said, I'm not an ordinary Mamba. I said, well, I'm not an ordinary mongoose.